Hello and welcome to another episode of Father and Joe. I am Joe Rockey here with Father Boniface Hicks. And as the regular listeners will know, I am a father of a toddler. I believe that's still the timeline he's at. He, long story short, just turned 3. And I am dealing daily with the issue of not giving him what he wants. And I don't give him what he wants for a variety of reasons. Sometimes it literally would be bad for him. Like, no, don't try to eat the soap packet that we put into the dishwasher. That would be bad for you. Or, no, don't go out and try to think that we're going to give you juice for every single time you want to drink something. So there are some natural things here. But he is an incredibly smart person. I believe all kids are in this department. He knows, well, if Dad's going to say no, Aunt Lauren will say yes. So I'm just going to ask her. And I know that if I go over here, I'll get what I want. Or I'll go over there and I'll get what I want. Without ever, I mean, he's 3. I'm not sure he totally can comprehend what is the best thing that he should want based upon what he's actually trying to accomplish. So I bring this up because this element of I think I want something, I think I need something, gets so much blurrier as we get older. I mean, just look at how should I go about traveling? I mean, just a basic question. Well, we go back to what our parents would have done, generation before us. They were just gone off essentially what they always used to do. And we go down this road, we turn right at the third light, we turn left, we sit in traffic a little bit, and then you'll be there. Well, now we got Google Maps and Waze that says, no, you do a semicircle around the right, no traffic whatsoever, you get there 10 minutes faster. All right, that's cool. And that's nice that there's new technology. But maybe part of going through that part was there was familiarity. Maybe it was because you always stopped at that little ice cream spot along the way that now you completely bypass by staying on the highway. I bring this all up because as we get older to adults, what we want is not always clear at all. And we have much less downfield vision in front of long-run planning than we ever had before, which, side note, that's why the gap between the top 1% and everyone else keeps changing. The commonality of the top 1% is they plan for the super long run. Side story. But the what we want now keeps getting debased lower and lower with less and less forethought down the road. And on the negative side of this is why you see much more obesity, diabetes, etc. Because, it tastes good now. It says it's low fat, so it's going to be good for me. Well, looking around, I don't think it is, based upon everyone else who's trying this experiment. But how do we address this factor of I want something? Should I myself tell myself no? But eventually an outside force is going to tell me no. And how should I deal with that? So I know that's a very broad topic. It's pretty universal to modern society. So it's something I think we should address because when people don't get what they want, temper tantrums are still a thing, unfortunately.
Yeah. I love what you said, first of all, noting how capable children are from the earliest years to manipulate. It's it is amazing. I mean, that is like so built into us. Just how much we are able to bend things to our own designs and get them in whatever way we're able to. So in some way, we can almost while we might complain about how immoral people are, we might sort of wonder that anybody is moral. It's quite amazing that we have moved from what is seems so innate, although it's really innate to our fallen nature. It's Jesus wasn't like that. Mary wasn't like that. So it's really part of our fallen state. But it is correctable, and that process of correction, well, it's not unrelated to the things we were talking about in the last episode. It's when I eat cotton candy, it tastes really good, and I I seem to remember a point in my life when, you know, there was a point in my life when I couldn't have candy bars every day because I didn't have enough money. And and then there came a point that I could actually afford buying basically as many candy bars as I wanted to. Now, fortunately, in the meantime, I had learned the relative value of candy bars, what happens when you eat too many of them, and some sense of like that this will destroy my body and will not be good in the long run. I was able to develop some of that sensitivity. But the way it's similar to what we were talking about in the last episode is in the sense that there is something good about candy bars. There's a reason that I like them and that I want more of them. They taste good, and that's one of the things that is well, that we help children with, is to acknowledge what is good. What are you feeling? What's going on inside of you? I really want that. Okay, can we parse that a little bit? What do you want? I want the good taste. Okay. You don't want to be fat and have a heart attack by the time you're 30. Okay. So let's distinguish what you actually want. And now let's look at this candy bar. What is it going to get you? Well, it is going to get a good taste, but it's also going to make you fat and have a heart attack by the age of 30. So, what are you choosing? And helping people to choose according to the fullness of reality rather than the immediate satisfaction of the moment is a really crucial thing. Um, and so again, that starts with recognizing what is good and what is bad. And sometimes, in our effort to emphasize what is bad, we also pretend that what is good is not there, and then we can make ourselves and others feel crazy. No, that's just bad. And I'm thinking like, no, it tastes really good. I know
Mhm.
that's true. No, it's just bad. Well, now I don't know what to do with my own feelings. I don't know how to track my own desires. And now I'm learning that my own desires are bad. Well, now I have a real problem. Uh, we go through some of this difficulty now to take something more complicated than candy bars with sex. Uh, Sexual stimulation feels really good, and it's meant to. And then we also know that sex outside of marriage is really bad. And so then if I'm just told sex is bad, well, now I have a real problem because there's this strong desire and I'm told that it's bad. And now I don't know how to trust my own desires. And so then this has a way of creating an interior polarization where a part of myself internalizes the message, this is bad. And another part of myself really wants this thing, which in fact is good, just it has to be in the right context. And now I create this inner self hatred out of that inner conflict. Rather than if I were formed better, then I would be told, well, this is really good, and your desires are good, and your desires have kind of multiple things going on. You're really attracted to the opposite sex. Okay, that's great. And there's a sexual desire that goes in that, and it grows as you're in your teenage years, and as you become an adult, and that's all a good thing. And for that to be expressed in the full, true, right, long lasting, beautiful, fruitful way, it needs to look like this. And then that's taking and properly shaping desires rather than sending simplistic messages that are false, that are partly false. Sexual intercourse outside of marriage is really bad, but sex is not bad. Sex is holy. It just has to be in the right context of marriage and open to all of the right things. So I've just taken two examples now, candy bars and sex, and tried to shape how we can understand and how people outside of us can help us to understand what's happening inside of us and really communicate wisdom, greater wisdom. And this is part of what fathers, good fathers and mothers do, and help their children to understand some of the complicated attractions, desires, feelings that are happening inside of us, and then how those things can be expressed and lived out and understood in the proper ways.
Yes, which I think what I'm about to say has opened up a natural blind spot in this process. So I disclose that up front, is that there's nuances to this, as you just said, in both of your examples. There's times that, yeah, this is good. Like, I just want to eat something that's tasty, it's better. So what are our choices there? We could either train ourselves to fall in love with something else that tastes good, reprogram our brain. So now I like the taste of, I don't know, onions and herbs more than I like the taste of sugar and carbs. Well, in the long run, yes, that would be incredibly better for you. But what is the process of going through that, and do you want to put the effort in, or do you want to actually trust that this person who's telling me that this is wrong is right? So I think that you hit upon a couple of massive points there. First being that don't try to turn something into a black and white issue when it isn't. There are some things that are black and white. If I drop my pen, it's going to fall to the floor. That's black and white. Gravity is a thing. But there is no thing that says that black ink is better than blue ink. They both kind of get the job done, and it doesn't really matter. Probably not, unless you're signing something in front of a notary that's going to be a massive deal later. But in general, doesn't matter. I'm taking notes for high school. Does it have to be blue or black? Why can't it be green? Like, why are you putting these stupid rules in effect? So there is no such thing as green pens are evil. So does the go with that? Don't make things black and white when they don't have to be. But the other part of it is that a lot of us have been trained by turning complex things into either or black and white situations when it's really not the case. So now trying to make it colorful, I'm coming from a spot of only knowing it was black or white, and I'm trying to piece apart this complicated issue from an array of other experiences I have that are black and white. And I'm not even sure if I'm totally right when I'm trying to synthesize it into this answer. So just take your second example there of sex, as you started with. Starting point feels good. People seem to like me more when we're doing this. So, okay, I want to be liked. But on the other hand, it's super, super scary if a baby gets born or a pregnancy happens when it's not someone I should be having a pregnancy with. So now you got all these other scary thoughts. And regardless of where you are in life, all of this stuff gets added up, and you have all these different conflating plus or no, yes or no variables out there that doesn't really add into a deep conversation if all you've been trained on is an absolute yes, no, good, bad, or evil, and how to look in this way. And I bring this up because, having been taught this way in a number of different things, it can be scary to try to give advice, to try to put a more complete picture, to put color into the conversation whenever you're not sure that it's right. To continue this color analogy, maybe you think it's supposed to be red, but the real answer is green. And like there's fear in being wrong. So maybe the easier way is to just keep it simplistic, even if it's going to be a problem. So I bring this up because this sticky point of life is a thing.
Yeah, and I of course am thinking, speaking off the top of my head in these things, and I started to think about the some of the problems with putting those two analogies next to each other, candy bars and sex, right? Because it should be said that there are so many things that are going on, and that's part of why it's so important for us to have relationships. And it's a thing parents talk about, the birds and the bees, have the talk with their kids. We really need this because some of these things are so complex. What is our desire? It's not just to feel good, right? And that's not the point of sex. So there could be a misconception from what I said that there's this thing that you're not allowed to have before marriage that's about feeling good, but once you get married, you can do this thing that makes you feel good. It's like, well, that's really missing the mark. So anyway, let me communicate very clearly. That's not what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But rather the desire, which is multifaceted, is the attraction to the opposite sex, the complementarity that's there, the bonding that takes place, but with a desire, ultimately the deepest desire, the integrated desire, is towards total self-gift and reception of the other. It's a reiteration, a reconsecration of the marriage. So it always contains the qualities of the marriage vows: free, total, faithful, and fruitful. And so it's an incredibly complex thing in us. And of course, as a celibate man, I still have a sexuality, but even those desires are oriented toward relationship, and the chaste expression of those outside of marriage is something beautiful and rich and complex. And so, like, to actually be formed in all of that uh, requires really healthy relationships, not just information that I'm told something, but somebody to also model that. I'm formed in chaste love by people who express chaste love. And that's one of the reasons I think, the hookup culture, a lot of these things really go astray, and it twists those desires and directs them toward a landing place, which is false. And so anyway, I just was realizing how dangerously I may have miscommunicated something that is so important, rich, and beautiful in an effort to make a quick explanation or a quick example. But yeah, so really honoring the complexity of our interior and bringing that into relationship, of trusting relationships where we can share things that are really vulnerable, not just sort of displaying all of this, hemorrhaging all of it out on social media or something like that, but being able to care for it in the really reverent, sensitive, holy, and beautiful way that it needs to be. And so why parents and children, for example, are a good context for some of these things to be formed and communicated in, that children can understand what's happening inside of them when they are tempted to simply manipulate their parents into getting what they want, how their parents' understanding of what they most deeply want and what those desires actually mean, and helping them to direct those towards the things that are the greatest good and will offer real fulfillment is so vital to good parenting.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we hope that this episode has helped. Again, if you haven't already, please leave a star review and a written review on whatever platform you are upon. And also, please share us with someone else who could be in need of this. We love growing it. That's how we grow organically. And we thank you for being with us, and we'll be with you again next week.